Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hi there.
Our mission here is, well, pretty straightforward. We take these dense sources, your C1 language toolkit, and pull out what you really need.
That's right. It's about getting you from English that's just understood to English that's genuinely persuasive, powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moving beyond that B2 correctness, where everything's technically fine, but it maybe lacks impact.
Precisely. Today's deep dive is all about that precision. If you felt your English is okay, grammatically sound, but maybe doesn't quite cut it in complex professional chats or for diplomacy,
Right.
well, you're likely hitting that B2 ceiling.
Right.
C1 mastery isn't really about learning loads of obscure vocabulary. It's much more about wielding these common structures, the ones you probably already know of, but using them with, let's say, surgical precision.
And control the tone. Right. That's what the sources kept emphasizing.
Exactly. Tone, certainty, emphasis, diplomacy. It's all encoded in the structure.
Okay. And the sources really argue that this jump, B2 to C1, it's largely structural. It's learning these advanced patterns, specific modals, clever comparisons, even flipping word order with inversion.
To signal things like how sure you are, or maybe how reluctant, how formal you need to be, your attitude. All without clumsy phrases like, I think maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, cutting out the waffle.
Yeah.
So we've boiled this toolkit down. What are the key areas?
We focus on 5 critical zones for any advanced speaker. Conditionals, causatives, comparisons, modals, and the big one for style, inversion for emphasis.
Got it. These are the tools for subtlety, for getting things done, for making people listen.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Shall we dive in? Let's start with hypotheticals and certainty, conditionals and modals.
Okay, so before we hit the really advanced stuff, we probably need a quick refresher.
Yeah.
Just the baseline, the 4 standard conditionals.
Definitely. They're the foundation. They basically connect causes and effects in specific time frames. We'll keep it brief. As you said, this should be familiar ground.
Right. So 0 conditional.
That's for universal truths, facts. If you heat ice, it melts. Always true. Simple cause and effect.
Okay. Then first, conditional.
Real possibilities. Future. If the market picks up next quarter, we'll probably hire more staff. It's a likely, or at least possible, outcome.
Got it. Second conditional steps into imagination, right? Unreal, present, or future.
Exactly. If I had more time, but I don't, I would learn the piano. It's hypothetical, contrary to present reality.
And number 4, the third conditional. The what if about the past.
Ah, yes, the language of regret, or just analyzing past events that didn't happen. If they had launched the product sooner, but they didn't, they would have captured the market. The action is done, the past result is fixed.
So those are the building blocks, solid B2 territory. But C1 demands more flexibility, moving beyond these neat time boxes.
Absolutely. That's where the real control starts. This is where mastery over time and meaning really shows. As you said, life isn't neatly divided. Mixed conditionals let us link a condition in one time frame to a result in another. It's sophisticated stuff.
Okay, let's break down the first type. This seems common. A past condition leading to a present result.
Right. Structure-wise, you're mashing together the third conditional's if clause, that's if plus past perfect, with the second conditional's result clause, that's would plus base verb.
Okay, so if plus had done would be do. What's the main use case?
Explaining a current state based on a past action or decision. Think about that example. If I hadn't taken that job in Tokyo, that's a past finished decision, I wouldn't be fluent in Japanese now.
Ah, okay. The consequence is ongoing, affecting the present.
Exactly. The past choice has a permanent present result.
And this is super useful for analysis, isn't it? Like in history or academic papers. Instead of saying Rome built roads, its legacy is strong today, which is a bit basic.
Right. A B2 speaker might do that, 2 separate sentences. But the C1 speaker, they fuse it elegantly. If the Roman Empire hadn't developed such robust infrastructure, its cultural legacy would not be so pervasive today.
Wow, yeah. Much cleaner. Shows a deeper grasp of cause and effect right in the sentence structure.
Definitely. Okay, now let's flip it. Present condition causing a past result.
So this time it's the second conditional structure in the if clause, if, plus simple past, combined with the third conditional in the result clause would have, plus past participle.
Correct. If plus did were, would have done.
And when do you use this? It feels less common.
It's for when a general ongoing trait, something true about you now, or generally affected a specific thing you did or didn't do in the past.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Personal reflection. If I were a more organized person, That's generally true about me. An ongoing state, I would have finished the report on time last week.
Okay, so the condition is a personality trait, not a single past event.
Exactly. Or think about a business context.
Yeah.
If our company's approval process weren't so bureaucratic, that's how it is now, an ongoing condition. We could have secured that partnership last month.
Right. The current slow process caused a past missed opportunity.
Precisely. Mixed conditionals let you perform that complex causal analysis, connecting past failures or successes to present realities or traits. It really elevates your argument. Hashtag tag tag 1.3. Modals for logical deduction and speculation.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Modals. At C1, they're not just about rules like you must wear a helmet, right? They become tools for deduction.
Absolutely. Logical deduction, using modals like must or can't to show how certain you are based on the evidence you have.
So not obligation, but conclusion.
Exactly. Your colleague looks exhausted after pulling an all-nighter. You say, wow, you must be tired. It's a logical deduction, almost 100% certainty based on what you see.
Or the opposite, seeing a fancy sports car outside your quiet neighbor's house. That can't be his car. Certainty that it's impossible.
Right. And this applies to the past too, using the structure modal plus have plus past participle.
So, you missed the meeting? You must have received the email invite. I sent it to everyone, expressing certainty about a past action.
Yep. Or expressing disbelief about a past event. She can't have finished the entire project already. It only started yesterday. You're saying it's logically impossible in your view.
It's much stronger than just saying, I don't think she finished it.
Miles stronger. It replaces those vague phrases like maybe or I guess with structured certainty or impossibility. That's the precision we're talking about.
But okay, professional life isn't always about 100% certainty. Often you need to be more cautious, more diplomatic. That's where may, might, and could come in.
Exactly. These are your softening agents, essential in academic writing, business reports, anywhere you need to avoid sounding too assertive or making claims you can't fully prove yet.
So they signal what, like 40–60% certainty?
Roughly, yeah. They allow speculation without full commitment. These initial results might indicate a need for further investigation, or, the client could have misunderstood that part of the contract.
I sometimes worry, though, if I use might or may too much, will I sound weak? Unsure.
That's a really good point. It's about the context and the phrasing. A B2 speaker might just say, maybe the results are wrong. Vague. A C1 speaker frames it professionally. Given the unexpected variance, the results may warrant a second look. It shows careful consideration, not weakness. It suggests possibilities rather than declaring uncertain facts.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about controlled uncertainty. Now, what about expectation and criticism? Should and be supposed to.
Right. Should sets an expectation for now or the future. The delivery should arrive by 3 p.m. It's expected but not guaranteed.
But in the past, should have. That feels like regret or criticism.
It is. Should have plus past participle is the classic formula for polite professional regret or mild criticism. We should have double-checked those figures. It acknowledges an error without being overly harsh.
Useful in team meetings, I bet.
Very. Now contrast that with we're supposed to. This one specifically highlights an unmet expectation, something that was arranged or signed.
So it implies a duty or prior agreement?
Exactly. You were supposed to send me that file yesterday. There's a mild reproach there. It implies a known requirement was missed, making it a bit stronger than just, you should have sent it.
Okay, now for a really tricky one that catches people out. Needn't have versus didn't need to.
Oh, this is a classic C1 distinction, crucial for clarity when looking back. Needn't have plus past participle means you did the action, but looking back, it was unnecessary.
Okay, give me a scenario.
You spent hours writing a detailed explanation for a client. Then you find out they already understood the issue perfectly. You think, I needn't have written such a long email.
You did the writing, but it was wasted effort.
Precisely. The regret is about the wasted effort. Now, didn't need to plus base verb means the action was unnecessary and you correctly avoided doing it.
So I thought I might need to call support, but the problem fixed itself. So in the end, I didn't need to call them.
Perfect. You recognized it wasn't necessary and didn't do it. Getting these two right signals real control. Mixing them up can cause confusion about whether a task was actually done or not.
Okay, let's shift focus now. Talking about control, delegation, causatives. These seem vital for business and formal contexts.
Absolutely vital. They let you talk about making something happen without actually doing it yourself. The focus is on you, the causer, the orchestrator. Hashtag tag 2.1, defining positives.
So instead of saying, my assistant booked the flights, I say,
You'd say, I had my assistant book the flights, or even more commonly in passive causative, I had the flights booked. It puts the focus on you arranging the action.
It sounds more managerial, more high level.
It does. It's the language of delegation. Informal reports or emails saying, I will research the market, sounds like you're doing the legwork. I will have the market research done, signals you're overseeing it.
Right. Strategic versus operational focus. Hashtag tag 2.2. The three main causative verbs.
Okay, the main players are make, have, and get. And the C1 insight is that they carry different levels of force or formality.
Let's start with makey. That sounds like the strongest one. Force, obligation.
Exactly. And the structure is crucial. Subject plus make plus object plus base verb. Remember, no to.
The bare infinitive.
Correct. The urgency of the deadline made the team work late. It implies compulsion, maybe even reluctance from the team. It highlights the manager's authority.
Okay. Next up, HVE. This seems more neutral, more standard for professional settings.
It is. It's the go-to for neutral arrangements or instructions. Two key structures here. First, instructing someone specific. Subject plus have plus object plus base verb.
Like the flights example, I had my assistant book the flights.
Right.
You instructed her.
Exactly. The second structure is the passive causative. Subject plus have plus object plus past participle. This is incredibly common for arranging services.
I had my car serviced. We had the report proofread.
Perfect. The focus is purely on the service being completed. Who did it is often irrelevant or assumed.
Which makes it very useful for formal writing.
Okay.
And the third one, get TT. How does that differ from have?
Get often implies persuasion, effort, or a slightly more informal arrangement. For persuasion, the structure changes. Subject plus get plus object plus to plus base verb.
Ah, so get uses the to infinitive here.
Yes. It took a while, but I finally got the finance department to approve the budget increase. It suggests you had to convince them, overcome some hurdle. Have would just sound like a standard instruction.
Okay, and get can also be used like the passive causative of have, but more informally.
Right. Subject plus get plus object plus past participle. I need to get my hair cut. We got the printer fixed yesterday.
So talking to a friend, you might say, I got my phone repaired. But in a company report, you'd write, we had the communication system updated.
Precisely. Choosing between have and get for these passive causative structures depends entirely on the formality required. Nail that, and you're sounding much more C1.
You touched on this with have something done, but the ability to omit the agent, the person who actually did the action, seems really powerful.
It's a key stylistic choice in passive causatives. Have edget plus object plus past participle. When you say we had the legal documents reviewed, you deliberately leave out who reviewed them.
Why do that?
Focus. It keeps the attention purely on the result, the completed action. We had the budget approved. The approval is the key info, not necessarily which committee member signed off.
It also allows for strategic vagueness sometimes.
It certainly can. If a task was done, but perhaps not perfectly, saying we had the translation done, focuses on completion without needing to name the potentially inadequate translator.
Useful.
It's the language of results-driven environments. Focus on the outcome, manage the narrative. Strategic omission is definitely an advanced communication skill.
All right, moving on. If C1 is about precision, then comparisons need to go beyond just bigger or better. We need to talk about how much bigger or better.
Exactly. B2 is saying X is faster than Y. C1 is saying X is considerably faster than Y, or X is only marginally faster than Y, or even X and Y aren't even in the same league. It's about grading the difference.
Okay, let's start with emphasizing big differences. What are the go-to words beyond just much?
Think far, considerably, a great deal, significantly. In conversation, you might use this is way better. But in writing, stick to the more formal ones. The new software is a great deal more efficient.
These intensifiers project confidence, right? You're sure about the magnitude of the difference.
Definitely. And for the other end, showing a huge negative gap.
Like saying something is much worse, but more sophisticatedly.
Yes. Phrases like, is nowhere near as good as, are very strong. This prototype is nowhere near as reliable as the previous model. That's a clear, strong critique built into the comparison.
We're using nouns. There's a striking difference between their approach and ours.
Exactly. Now, what about expressing small differences? Sometimes you need to downplay the gap.
Softeners like slightly or a bit.
Precisely. Always with the comparative form, though. Their price is a bit higher than ours. This task is slightly more complex than the last one.
And the sources mentioned a common error here.
Yes. You must use these with the comparative adjective. It's a bit cheaper. Never a bit cheap. It's slightly more difficult. Not slightly difficult if you're comparing. A small detail, but crucial for correctness.
Okay. And for showing things are almost the same. Basically equal.
You use patterns that dismiss the difference. It's no better than what we already have. Or this new version is almost as effective as the old one. It signals the difference isn't significant enough to matter much.
What about comparisons that carry attitude, like praise or strong criticism?
Yeah, these are great for praise. Honestly, there's no comparison between her work and everyone else's, or his presentation skills are in the same league as professional speakers. High praise.
And for negative evaluation?
You make the comparison itself the criticism. This policy feels outdated by comparison with international standards. Using by comparison with adds formality, or that really strong one. This latest attempt is not even close to meeting the quality requirements.
So the structure itself delivers the judgment. Very efficient. Hashtags tag 3.2. Expanding the conditional repertoire. Alternatives to if.
Following the theme of precision, just like we need more than basic comparatives, we need more than just if for conditionals. Relying only on if sounds, well, a bit basic at C1 level.
We need variety to show we understand the specific type of condition. So, unless if is the obvious first alternative, meaning if not.
Right. Sets a clear exception. We can't launch unless marketing approves the campaign. Mandatory in legal or procedural contexts. It defines the single thing blocking progress.
Okay. What about setting stricter conditions, things that must happen?
Then you use provided that or providing that. These are stronger than if. They imply a non-negotiable prerequisite. We will sign the agreement provided that the payment terms are met up front.
Common in contracts and negotiations, I imagine.
Very. Now, as long as or so long as are slightly different, they often imply a condition that needs to be maintained over time.
How so?
The equipment will function correctly as long as it receives regular maintenance. It defines the ongoing requirement for success.
Got it. Then there's but for. That sounds quite formal, maybe rhetorical.
Highly formal, yes. It means if it weren't for, or if it hadn't been for, it isolates one crucial factor that prevented disaster or enabled success. But for her quick thinking, the project would have failed. Very dramatic, great for analysis.
It packs a punch. And lastly, in case of. This isn't really cause and effect, is it? It's more about precaution.
Exactly. It's about preparing for a possibility, not stating a direct condition for something else to happen. Take an umbrella in case it rains. Or, formally, keep backups of all data in case of system failure.
So using this range shows you can differentiate between types of conditions, exceptions, prerequisites, ongoing needs, saving factors, precautions. Much more nuanced than just if.
That's the C1 goal. Nuance and precision.
Okay, we've saved maybe the most intimidating, but also the most powerful tool for last. Inversion.
Yes, inversion. It's a hallmark of advanced English. It signals formality, adds emphasis, and honestly, just sounds impressive when used correctly.
So what is it? Fundamentally, it's flipping the word order.
Essentially, yes. You take a standard sentence, often starting with an adverbial phrase or a negative word, put that phrase at the beginning, and then invert the subject and the auxiliary verb, like asking a question, but it's a statement.
Okay, let's break it down. First, how does it apply to conditionals? The sources said it lets you drop if. Hashtag tag context 4.1. Formal conditional inversion.
Correct. It makes the conditional statement more concise, more formal, often more emphatic. Very common in formal instructions or high-level arguments.
So the first type uses should, replacing a formal first conditional.
Right. Instead of, if you should notice any discrepancy, which is already quite formal, inversion gives you, should you notice any discrepancy, please report it immediately. Tighter, more direct, like a rule.
Okay. Then we're for the second conditional. Unreal present future, but highly formal or rhetorical.
Exactly. Instead of, if I were to suggest a different approach, you get the more impactful. Were I to suggest a different approach, would the committee be open to it? It adds weight, often used in formal debates or serious proposals.
And the third one, had, for the third conditional. Past counterfactuals.
Yes. This is huge in analytical writing, historical analysis. Instead of the slightly clunky, if the company had invested more in training, yeah, right, the much sleeker. Had the company invested more in training, employee retention might have improved.
It definitely sounds more sophisticated. Dropping the if makes it very direct. Hashtag tag 4.2. General inversion for emphasis.
And inversion isn't just for conditionals. It's a general tool for emphasis, used whenever you start a sentence with certain negative or restrictive expressions.
Like never, rarely, seldom.
Exactly. Starting with these instantly adds drama. Instead of, I have never seen such a positive reaction, Inversion gives you. Never have I seen such a positive reaction. The emphasis lands squarely on never.
Same for rarely. She rarely makes mistakes.
Rarely does she make mistakes. It elevates the statement, makes it sound more like a formal evaluation.
Okay. Then there are those pairs for consecutive actions.
Yeah.
No sooner than and hardly when.
Right. These show two things happening in very quick succession, and they require inversion after the first part plus the past perfect tense.
Can you demo no?
Sure.
No sooner had we finalized the agreement than they announced a merger with our competitor. The second action happened immediately after the first. The inversion, had we finalized, adds to the dramatic effect.
And hardly.
Similar idea. Hardly had the CEO begun his speech when the fire alarm went off. Instantaneous sequence. Crucial structure for narrative or reporting sequences of events formally.
No, not only.
Yeah.
But also, this seems really powerful for connecting 2 points, like in a pitch.
Extremely powerful. It gives equal weight to 2 related achievements or points and demands inversion in the first clause.
So instead of, our strategy saved money and it also improved customer satisfaction, which is fine, but...
But the C1 version is, not only did our strategy save money, but it also improved customer satisfaction significantly. See how did comes before our strategy?
Yeah.
That inversion lends real authority. Definitely sounds more persuasive.
Yeah.
Okay, what about starting with only expressions? Only after, only by, only when.
These are staples of academic and formal analytical writing. They restrict the condition under which something happened or can happen, and that restriction triggers inversion in the main clause.
Example.
Standard. I understood the complexity only after I spoke to the engineers. Inverted. Only after speaking to the engineers did I understand the complexity. The inversion emphasizes that the understanding was conditional on speaking to them.
And only by, for describing the sole method.
Yes. Only by implementing stricter controls can we prevent future errors. Again, the auxiliary can flips with the subject we. It states the necessary condition forcefully.
What about little? The sources mentioned it for irony or unawareness.
Yeah, it's a nice stylistic touch. Little did the management know that the market was about to crash. It creates a sense of dramatic irony, positioning the speaker writer as having hindsight.
And finally, the really strong ones, starting with phrases like, under no circumstances.
Ugh, the non-negotiables. Under no circumstances, in no way, on no account. These absolutely demand inversion immediately following them. They are the language of rules, regulations, and absolute prohibitions.
Under no circumstances should this door be left unlocked.
Perfect. In no way can the company be held liable for user error. It's definitive, formal, and leaves no room for argument. Mastering these is like having the final word, linguistically speaking. #outro.
Wow, okay. That was a deep dive indeed. We've essentially unpacked a C1 toolkit for real linguistic control.
We have, from handling tricky time connections with mixed conditionals,
to delegating diplomatically with causatives,
precisely grading differences with advanced comparisons,
and using modals for nuanced certainty and speculation.
right up to wielding inversion for maximum formality and emphasis.
It feels like the big shift, the C1 mindset, is about making the grammar do the heavy lifting, right? Encoding meaning in the structure.
That's it, exactly. You stop needing to say, I arranged for this to be done and I'm quite sure about this point. Instead, you say, we had this done and the data must be correct. Certainty, delegation, attitude, it's all built in.
And that subtlety, that control, it must have a real impact professionally.
Right.
Being able to frame a past mistake constructively using should have, or analyze a counterfactual using had we not.
It changes how you're perceived. You sound more analytical, more strategic, more in command of the situation and the language.
And thinking about that inversion piece, using not only did we achieve X, but we also achieved Y in a presentation that lands differently.
Completely differently. It's not just information, it's structured persuasion.
Yeah.
It frames your achievements in the strongest possible light.
So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. Once you start mastering these tools, once you have this level of control where fluency meets precision, think about those professional goals or communication challenges that currently feel, well, maybe nowhere near achievable. How might that change? Because wielding language with this kind of C1 precision isn't just about sounding good. It really is about having the power to persuade, to influence, maybe even to lead in ways that weren't possible before.
Well said. We hope this toolkit helps you move towards not just correctness, but that profound level of control.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.